They called her the Death Bride. And as Sorel knelt in the mud of her family's courtyard, her stepmother's hand still stinging across her face, she believed them. The black crescent scar on her neck, the mark that had killed her mother, the curse that promised to destroy any mate foolish enough to bond with her, burned like a brand of shame. No one would ever want her. No one would ever save her. She was wrong. From the shadows of the colonnade, Alpha King Corvin of Valdrin watched. He'd come to negotiate a treaty with her father's house, slipping away from the tedious formalities to clear his mind. He hadn't expected to witness a young woman being beaten by her own family. He hadn't expected the strange pull in his chest, a sensation he shouldn't be able to feel at all. Corvin hadn't felt anything in 15 years. The curse that bound his bloodline had stolen all physical sensation from his body. No warmth, no cold, no pleasure, no pain, nothing. Until her. When he stepped out of the shadows, everything changed. He claimed her before the entire household, demanded her as part of the treaty, and took her back to Valdrin as his bride. But he made one thing absolutely clear from the start. "I will never love you," he told her. "This is an arrangement, nothing more." She accepted. After all, what did a death bride have to lose? Neither of them understood how impossible his vow would be. The courtyard behind Thornwood Manor was supposed to be empty. That was why Matilda had chosen it. Sorrel's knees hit the cobblestones hard enough to bruise as her stepmother's palm connected with her cheek for the third time. The crack echoed off the stone walls, followed by the cruel laugh of her stepsister Cassia. "Look at her," Cassia sneered, circling like a vulture. "The death bride, groveling in the dirt where she belongs." Sorrel kept her head down, copper hair falling around her face. She'd learned long ago that fighting back only made it worse. "You've embarrassed this family for the last time." Matilda's voice dripped with venom. "The Alpha King himself is here for treaty negotiations, and you dare show your face at dinner, with that mark on display." Sorrel's hand went instinctively to her neck, to the black crescent moon scar curving below her jaw. The death mark. The curse her mother had carried before her. "I wore the high collar," Sorrel whispered. "I covered it." "Not well enough." Matilda grabbed her hair and yanked her head back. Lady Vernal saw it. She asked questions. "Do you understand what that could do to Cassia's prospects?" "I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't undo the damage." Matilda shoved her, sending Sorrel sprawling. "You're a stain on this house, a reminder of your father's shameful first marriage." "My mother wasn't," Sorrel started, but Cassia's foot caught her ribs, driving the air from her lungs. "Don't speak of her," Cassia hissed. "She was a death-marked Omega who killed herself rather than murder her mate." It wasn't true. Her mother had died of fever. But the rumors had spread anyway, poisoned by Matilda's whispers. "Perhaps," Matilda said slowly, "it's time we considered more permanent solutions. Once the Alpha King leaves tomorrow, there will be no witnesses to whatever unfortunate accident might befall you." Sorrel's blood went cold. "No one would question it," Cassia added. "The death bride, finally claimed by her own curse." "Please," Sorrel whispered. "I'll leave. You'll never see me again." "And risk you returning to claim your inheritance?" Matilda shook her head. "This ends tonight." She raised her hand again. It never fell. "I wouldn't." The voice cut through the courtyard like a blade, deep, cold, carrying an authority that made Matilda freeze mid-swing. Sorrel's eyes flew to the colonnade, where a figure emerged from the shadows. Tall, powerfully built, dressed in black, that absorbed the torchlight. The Alpha King of Valdrin. "Your Majesty," Matilda's voice came out strangled. "We weren't. This isn't. She's just a servant who needed discipline." She addressed you as her father's wife. Corvin's pale green eyes swept the scene with frightening calm. "Which means she is nobility. And you were about to strike her again." He stepped closer, and Sorrel felt something strange wash over her. An aura of power so intense, it pressed against her skin. But beneath it, something hollow. His gaze dropped to her, kneeling in the mud. "What is your name?" he asked. "Sorrel, your majesty. Sorrel of House Thornwood." His eyes moved to her neck, to the death mark. Something shifted in his expression. Not disgust, not pity. Something she couldn't name. "The Death Bride," he said quietly. Sorrel flinched. "Yes, that's what they call me." Corvin studied her for a long moment. Then he turned to Matilda, his voice lethal. I came to negotiate a treaty with Lord Phelan. I've decided on new terms." Matilda blinked. "Your Majesty? I'll take her." He nodded toward Sorrel. "As my bride." The courtyard went deathly silent. "What?" Cassia shrieked. "You can't. She's cursed. She'll kill you." "Perhaps." Corvin extended his hand toward Sorrel. "But that's my concern, not yours." Sorrel stared at his outstretched hand. This was madness. No one wanted her. "Why?" she breathed. His eyes met hers, cold and fathomless. "Because no one should kneel in the dirt while their family decides how to murder them." It wasn't a declaration of love. It wasn't even kindness. But it was more than anyone had ever offered her. Sorrel took his hand. The carriage ride to Valdrin took 3 days. 3 days of silence from the Alpha King, who rode alongside on a massive black stallion rather than sitting inside with her. 3 days of wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake. On the 4th morning, Sorrel woke to find the carriage had stopped. She pushed aside the velvet curtain and caught her breath. Castle Valdrin rose from the mist like something out of a dark fairy tale. Black stone towers pierced a gray sky, ancient and imposing and utterly beautiful. A guard opened the door. "My lady, His Majesty requests your presence in his study." Sorrel climbed down on unsteady legs, clutching the worn cloak that was all she'd been permitted to bring. The castle interior was dramatic. Soaring ceilings, dark tapestries, torches casting flickering shadows. Servants paused to stare as she passed. "Is that her? The one from Thornwood?" "Look at her neck, the death mark." Sorrel kept her eyes forward, chin high. She'd survived worse than whispers. The guard stopped before a heavy oak door. "The Lady Sorrel, your Majesty." "Enter." Sorrel stepped inside and found herself in a vast study lined with books. A fire crackled in the hearth, and standing by the window, framed by pale winter light, was Corvin. He turned as she entered, and again she felt that strange hollow power radiating from him. He was striking in daylight, features sharp and aristocratic, and pale green eyes unsettling in their intensity. But something was wrong. He stood too still. His expression revealed nothing. Even his scent was muted. "Close the door," he said. She did, hands trembling. "You're afraid of me," Corvin observed. "Should I be?" The ghost of something, surprise, crossed his face. "Most people are. Most people haven't been promised to death since birth." Sorrel met his gaze. "I learned to fear other things." Corvin studied her, then gestured to a chair near the fire. "Sit. We need to discuss terms." "Terms?" "Of our arrangement." He remained standing. "I need to make certain things clear." Sorrel's stomach nodded. "Here it comes," she thought. "I chose you for specific reasons," he continued, "none of them romantic. I need a wife for political purposes, an alliance, an heir. You need protection from a family planning to kill you. This arrangement serves us both." "I understand," Sorrel said carefully. "I'm not finished." His voice remained flat. "First, I will provide everything you need: clothing, servants, comfort, safety." "Thank you." "Second," he cut her off, "I will never love you." The words hung stark and brutal. "This will be a marriage in name only," Corvin continued. We will share a bed when necessary to produce heirs. Otherwise, you will have your own chambers, your own life. I will be your husband in title, but nothing more." Sorrel searched his face for cruelty and found only emptiness. "Why?" she asked quietly. His jaw tightened. "That's my concern. You're asking me to marry you, to bear your children. I think I deserve to know why you're incapable of—" "I didn't say incapable. I said I won't." But there wasn't a difference. Sorrel could see it now. In the muted scent, the absence of warmth. Something was fundamentally wrong with the Alpha King. "You're hiding something," she said. "Everyone hides something." His gaze dropped to her neck. "You would know that better than most." "Will you agree to my terms?" Corvin asked. "Or would you prefer I return you to Thornwood? Return to Matilda. Return to Cassia. Return to the family that had promised to make her death look like an accident." "I accept your terms, Your Majesty." Sorrel curtsied. "When is the wedding?" "Tomorrow." She blinked. "Tomorrow? The sooner it's done, the sooner you're legally protected." Sorrel walked toward the door, then paused. "Your Majesty? You stepped out of the shadows when you didn't have to. Whatever you're hiding, thank you. For that, at least." Corvin didn't turn around, but she saw his reflection in the window glass, and for just a moment, his expression cracked. Something raw surfaced before he buried it again. "Don't thank me yet," he said quietly. The wedding took place at sunset in Valdrin's Great Hall. Sorrel barely remembered the ceremony afterward. She remembered the weight of the gown, deep green velvet. She remembered hundreds of faces staring, whispering about the death mark visible above her collar. She remembered Corvin at the altar in black, beautiful and remote as marble. And she remembered his voice, flat and formal, speaking the vows. "I claim you as mine, my wife, my queen, my mate." When she repeated them back, she felt the ghost of something stir in her chest. Not the snap of a true mate bond. Something smaller. Something waiting. The priest pronounced them wed. "You may mark your bride, Your Majesty." The crowd leaned forward, but Corvin merely lifted Sorrel's gloved hand and pressed his lips to her knuckles, cold and controlled. The crowd murmured in confusion. "Your Majesty," the priest began, "the marking will be conducted privately." Corvin's tone left no room for argument. He led her out of the great hall to a sitting room with a fire already burning. "Your chambers," he said, releasing her hand. "My rooms are in the east wing." He was leaving, already leaving, on their wedding night. "Wait." The word escaped before she could stop it. Corvin paused. "You didn't mark me," Sorrel said. "In front of everyone. They'll say the marriage isn't real. They'll say many things. Does that bother you? I don't understand. You need this alliance legitimate. Why wouldn't you—" "The marking bite requires contact with skin." His wintry stare found the death mark. "Your skin. I assumed you wouldn't want me near that particular area." The breath caught in Sorrel's throat. He was protecting her. Her modesty, her secret, her shame. "Thank you," she whispered. "Stop thanking me." He said it almost harshly. "I'm being practical, not kind." But he wasn't. He could have demanded she bare her neck before the entire court. Instead, he'd kissed her hand and walked away. "The marking," she said quietly. "We'll need to complete it eventually. When you're ready, not before." "And if I'm never ready?" Something crossed his face. Pain, resignation, gone quickly. "Then we'll find another way," he said. "Good night, Sorrel." The door closed behind him. A knock made her jump. "Come in," she called, expecting a servant. The woman who entered was perhaps 50, with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes. She wore formal robes of a court advisor. "Your Majesty, I am Helene, His Majesty's primary counselor." "Please, come in." Helene didn't sit. She moved closer, gaze fixed on Sorrel's neck. You're the death-marked girl from Thornwood. Do you know why His Majesty chose you? He said he needed an alliance, an heir. Helene laughed bitterly. He could have had any princess for that. Then why? The counselor stepped closer. Because he's dying, child, and he thinks you can't make it worse. The words hit like a physical blow. What? The Alpha King suffers from an affliction no healer can cure. Helene's eyes were hard but not cruel. He cannot feel anything. Touch, temperature, pain, pleasure. His body registers nothing. He's been hollow since he was 12 years old. Pieces clicked into place. The muted scent, the careful distance. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to understand what you've married into. Helene moved toward the door. He chose you because he believes you're safe, a death-marked bride for a hollow king. Neither of you can hurt the other. But don't try to fix him. Don't try to love him. He's incapable of feeling it, and you'll only destroy yourself. The door closed. Sorrel sank onto the bed. 2 curses. 2 broken people. 1 impossible marriage. But beneath the fear, something else stirred. A tiny, defiant spark. If everyone had already given up on him, maybe that was exactly why she shouldn't. Sorrel didn't see Corvin for 3 days after the wedding. She explored the castle, learning its corridors and alcoves. The servants were polite but distant, watching her with wariness. On the 4th night, a knock came at her chamber door. Corvin stood in the corridor, dressed simply in a white shirt and dark trousers. Without formal attire, he looked younger, more vulnerable. "May I come in?" Her pulse quickened. "Of course." He entered and stood by the fireplace, keeping distance between them. "We need to discuss the heir situation," he said. "I've put it off long enough." Sorrel's mouth went dry. She'd known this was coming. "I understand. I want you to understand what it will be like. With me." He was quiet for a moment. "I cannot feel physical sensation. Any of it. When I touch something..." He pressed his palm against the stone mantel. "I perceive pressure, but I don't feel texture, temperature, nothing." "What happened to you?" she whispered. "That's not relevant." "It is to me." Something surfaced in his gaze. No one had asked before. "A curse," he said finally. "Placed on me when I was young. When we lie together, I won't be able to feel you. Not truly. Any pleasure will be entirely one-sided." The clinical description made Sorrel's chest ache. "That sounds lonely," she said softly. His expression shuddered. "It's practical." But she was watching him closely, the tension in his shoulders, his hands curled into fists. He was bracing himself. "All right," she said. He blinked. "All right? I accept. But I have one condition." Wariness crept into his features. "What condition?" "You stay afterward, at least until I fall asleep." Confusion crossed his face. "Why? I just told you I can't..." "I'm not asking you to feel anything. I'm asking you to be present." Corvin stared at her as if she'd spoken a foreign language. "Very well," he said at last. He extinguished the candles until only firelight remained. Then he approached, movements careful. "The mark," he said quietly. "Will you let me see it?" No one had ever asked to see it. They'd only recoiled. Slowly, she tilted her head, exposing the black crescent. "May I?" His fingers hovered near her skin. She nodded. His fingertips brushed the mark, and he went utterly still. "What is it?" Sorrel asked, alarmed. His voice came out breathless. "I felt that." "What?" "Your skin. The mark." He pressed his palm fully against her neck, eyes widening. "I can feel the heat of you. Sorrel, I can feel this." Her pulse raced. "That's impossible." "I know what I said." He was staring at his hand like it belonged to someone else. 15 years, and I felt nothing. But you. He pulled back abruptly. This changes nothing, he said, voice unsteady. Corvin. It changes nothing. So she did the only thing she could. She reached out and took his hand. Corvin froze. She watched sensation flood through the contact, real sensation, for the first time in 15 years. His lips parted. His breath shuddered. Stay, she said simply. Whatever this is, we'll figure it out together. He didn't answer, but he didn't pull away either. The nights that followed rewrote everything Corvin thought he knew about himself. He came to Sorrel's chambers each evening, telling himself it was duty. But every time her skin touched his, sensation crashed through him. Heat, texture, pleasure. Gods above, the pleasure. He'd forgotten what it felt like to want something, to crave someone's touch so desperately that distance became its own kind of pain. He didn't understand it. Neither did the healers he'd consulted in secret. The curse remained unchanged, yet her skin against his unlocked something sealed away for 15 years. You're thinking too loudly, Sorrel murmured one night, her head resting on his chest. He'd started staying longer, first until she fell asleep, then until midnight, then until dawn. I'm trying to understand, he admitted. Why you? Why your touch? Sorrel was quiet. Maybe two broken things cancel each other out. Does it frighten you? She asked. That you can feel again? Corvin considered the question. 15 years of nothing. 15 years of watching others experience joy and pain while he moved through the world like a ghost. Yes, he said finally. It terrifies me. Why? Because I remember what it was like to lose it. The curse didn't take my sensation gradually. It happened between one heartbeat and the next. One moment I could feel my mother's hand. The next, nothing. I'm sorry, she whispered. It was long ago. But his arm tightened around her. Corvin? What if I could help? My mother studied old magics. She left journals. No. The word came out sharp. The last person who tried to break it died. Sorrel went still. Who? My mother. She sought the witch who cast it, begged her to lift it. When she threatened her, he trailed off. She killed her? She made it worse. Tied the curse deeper. Now any child I father will carry it too. Horror dawned in Sorrel's eyes. The heir. If we have a child, they'll be cursed. Yes. His jaw tightened. You should have been told before the wedding. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was a coward. His forehead dropped to hers. I'm sorry. We can't have a child, Sorrel whispered. Not if it means condemning them. I know. Silence pressed down on them. There has to be another way, Sorrel said finally. A way to break it. There isn't. You don't know that. Her voice strengthened. You've accepted it. But I haven't. And I won't. Corvin pulled back to look at her. In the firelight, her copper hair glowed like embers, and her eyes held fierce determination. Why do you care? He asked. This was supposed to be an arrangement. Sorrel's hand came up to rest over his heart. Because you stepped out of the shadows. Because you saved me. Because for the first time, someone chose me. And I refused to let you suffer alone. Corvin couldn't speak. No one had ever fought for him, not since his mother died trying. She kissed him before he could respond. And for the first time, Corvin kissed her back not because of duty. He kissed her because he wanted to. 3 months passed like water through cupped hands. Sorrel had never been happier. The castle became a home. The servants warmed to her. And Corvin was changing. He smiled now, small, rare smiles. He sought her company during the day. They walked in the gardens, dined together, debated until the candles burned low. And every night, he came to her chambers. His condition remained unchanged with everyone else. But with her, he was learning to live again. It was Helene who noticed first. "You're different," the counselor observed. "Something's changed." "Nothing's changed," Corvin said. "You're spending more time with the Queen." Smiling. Helene's expression darkened. "You need to be careful." "Of what?" "Of attachment." The word landed like a blade. "The curse responds to emotion." "What do you mean?" "The curse has two stages." Helene stepped closer. "The numbness. That was just the cage. It kept you from forming bonds. But if you ever broke through, if you ever truly loved someone, that triggers the killing frost. The curse was designed to ensure no king of your line could ever rule with his heart." Corvin went very still. "Get out," he said quietly. "Your Majesty, get out." Helene left, but her words lingered like poison. That night, Corvin didn't come to Sorrel's chambers. Or the next night. By the fourth night, Sorrel couldn't stand it. She went to find him. She discovered Corvin in his study, surrounded by ancient texts, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "What's wrong?" she demanded. "What happened?" "Nothing. Go back to your rooms." "No." She reached for his hand. He pulled away. The rejection stung like a blow. "Corvin, please, talk to me." "There's nothing to talk about." His voice was flat, dead. "Helene, she said something to you." His jaw tightened. "Whatever she said, it's wrong." Sorrel moved closer. "I'm not hurting you." "You don't know that." "I know how I feel." "And how is that?" Sorrel's heart pounded. They'd never spoken of feelings directly. "I love you," she said. Corvin's face went white. "Don't," he breathed. "Don't say that." "Why not? It's true." Tears burned in her eyes. "I love you, Corvin." "You can't." He was backing away. "If I feel too much, it takes more. And if you feel, I don't care about the curse, you should." His voice cracked. "Because I love you too." Time stopped. "What?" she whispered. "I love you." The words tore out of him. "I've loved you for weeks. I tried to stop, but I can't." He doubled over, clutching his chest. "Corvin!" Sorrel caught him. "What's happening?" His skin was ice cold. Frost was spreading across his shirt, crystallizing from his chest outward. "The curse," he gasped. "It's activating." "What do you mean activating?" His eyes met hers, and in them she saw terror. "Now it takes everything." His hand found hers weakly. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have let myself—" His eyes rolled back. He collapsed in her arms. "Help!" Sorrel screamed. "Someone help us!" But even as servants came running, one thought consumed her. She had finally found someone who loved her. And her love was killing him. The healers could do nothing. Sorrel sat vigil beside Corvin's bed for 2 days, watching frost creep across his body. It spread from his chest to his shoulders, down his arms. His skin was translucent, his lips blue. "There must be something," she pleaded with the chief healer, Aldrich. He shook his head. "The curse is ancient, designed to be unbreakable. Every curse can be broken. Not this one." He gathered his supplies. "I'm sorry. You should prepare yourself." After he left, Sorrel wept. This was her fault. She'd pushed him, confessed her love when she should have stayed silent. "I'm sorry," she whispered, taking his frozen hand. "I never meant to." "He can still hear you, you know." Sorrel's head snapped up. An ancient woman stood in the doorway, wrapped in a traveling cloak. Her eyes were milky white, clearly blind, but they fixed on Sorrel with unsettling accuracy. "Who are you?" "The guards let me pass. I told them I could help." The old woman shuffled closer. "Though, whether I will depends on you." "What do you mean?" "I know what you are, child, even if you don't." Sorrel touched her neck. "I'm cursed." "Is that what they told you? That the mark of the moon healer is a curse?" "Moon healer?" Your mother's line, stretching back 1,000 years. The woman settled into a chair. The black crescent isn't a death mark. It's a sigil. The ability to absorb and neutralize dark magic. Sorrel's blood roared in her ears. That's impossible. Matilda knew what your mother was. What you are? She spread the death curse rumors to isolate you, to ensure no one would bond with you and awaken your abilities. Why? Because she was afraid you'd discover the truth, that you carry enough power to break any curse ever cast. Sorrel stared at Corvin, frost consuming him. Even if it's true, I don't know how to use this power. Then stop hiding. The old woman rose. The curse binding him was cast by my sister. I cannot undo her work. Blood magic prevents me. But you can. How? Place your mark against his heart. Open yourself completely. Let the sigil drink the darkness from his blood. The woman's expression softened. It will hurt. More than anything you've felt. But if your love is strong enough, it is. The old woman nodded and disappeared. Sorrel turned to Corvin. His breathing had grown weaker. The frost had reached his throat. I need you to hold on, she whispered, climbing onto the bed. Just a little longer. She pressed her lips to his frozen forehead. Then she tilted her head and pressed her mark directly against his heart. The world exploded into pain. It was like being burned and frozen simultaneously. The curse fought her with everything it had. Dark magic clawed at her mind, showing her visions of death, trying to convince her she wasn't strong enough. The death bride, finally claimed by her own curse. But Sorrel held on. She thought of Corvin stepping out of the shadows, his hand extended toward her in that muddy courtyard. Every kindness he'd shown when he thought no one was watching. She thought of his laugh, his smile, the wonder in his eyes when he'd felt her touch for the first time. She thought of him saying, "I love you," like it was being torn from his chest. And she pulled. The curse screamed. Sorrel screamed with it. Black tendrils of magic poured from Corvin's body into hers. The death mark on her neck burned, glowing silver white. You cannot have him, she gasped. He's mine. The curse surged harder, but Sorrel was the daughter of Aneth Thornwood, the granddaughter of moon healers, and she was done hiding. I said he's mine. The mark blazed, and the curse shattered. Sorrel collapsed beside Corvin, body shaking, vision swimming, but beneath her cheek, she felt something. Warmth. Sorrel? The voice was hoarse but unmistakably his. She forced her eyes open. Corvin was staring at her, frost melting, color returning. You're alive, she breathed. You saved me. Wonder filled his voice. How? Later. Rest now. His arms came around her, and for the first time his embrace held warmth. Real warmth radiating from his own body. The curse, he said slowly. It's gone. I can feel everything. The sheets. The air. My heartbeat. His voice cracked. Sorrel, what did you do? Loved you, she murmured. Turns out that's all it took. When Sorrel woke, sunlight streamed through the windows. Corvin sat beside the bed, watching her with an expression she'd never seen. How long? She asked. 2 days. He took her hand, and she watched his face transform as sensation flooded through. The healer said you nearly died. Stubbornness, she said weakly. Family trait. Corvin laughed, a real laugh, full and warm. The old woman, Sorrel remembered. Did she? Gone, but she left something. He withdrew a folded letter. The truth. Sorrel unfolded it with trembling hands. To the new Queen of Valdrin. You have broken what my sister created. The truth you deserve. The curse was commissioned 40 years ago by Lord Edric Valdrin, Corvin's own grandfather. He feared his son was too emotional, too likely to be swayed by love. He wanted an heir who would rule with cold logic. My sister granted his wish. The price was paid in blood. His wife's blood. though he told everyone she died of fever. You have proven love is stronger than any magic. Marin. Silence hung heavy. My grandfather, Corvin said quietly. My own grandfather did this. Killed my grandmother. Cursed his bloodline. I'm sorry. Don't be. He pressed her hand to his cheek. He's long dead. His cruelty died with him. And thanks to you, the curse dies too. Our children? Sorrel's eyes widened. Will they? No. Corvin's smile was radiant. When you broke the curse, you broke it completely. Any children we have will be free. Relief flooded through her so intensely she burst into tears. Corvin gathered her close, both crying and laughing. I love you, he said. I can finally say it without fear. I love you too. She pulled back to look at him. What happens now? Now? He kissed her softly. Now we live. 6 months later, Queen Sorrel of Valdrin watched her husband address the assembled nobles. How things had changed. The castle that had whispered about her death mark now celebrated her as the queen who broke the ancient curse. And Corvin stood before his people not as the cold king they remembered, but as a man transformed. He smiled freely, laughed easily, touched her constantly, marveling at sensations others took for granted. The treaty with the Eastern Territories is finalized, Corvin announced, thanks to my queen's diplomatic efforts. Applause rippled through the hall. 6 months ago, he continued, I brought a woman here expecting nothing but a political arrangement. I told her I would never love her. His eyes found hers. I have never been more wrong. The hall erupted in cheers. Later, they walked through the gardens. Autumn had painted the leaves gold and crimson. I received a letter today, Sorrel said. From Thornwood. Matilda is dead. Fever. Cassia inherited the estate. She's asking permission to visit. Do you want to see her? Sorrel considered. Cassia had been cruel for years, but she'd been a child raised on poison. Maybe someday. Not yet. Corvin nodded. I have news as well. He stopped beneath an ancient oak. The healers confirmed it this morning. Sorrel, you're pregnant. The world went still. Pregnant? She breathed. Certain. His hands cupped her face. A child who will never know curses or the coldness that consumed my family for generations. Her hand went to her stomach. A life created from love. A life born free. I'm scared, she admitted. So am I. He smiled. But we'll figure it out together. She laughed through tears. That's what we do. He kissed her then, soft and deep. Around them, autumn leaves drifted like golden snow. They called her the death bride once. Now they called her the queen, who loved so fiercely she broke an unbreakable curse. And as Corvin held her beneath that ancient oak, his hands warm against her skin, his heart beating strong against hers, Sorrel thought that maybe, just maybe, love was the greatest magic of all. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it and would like to support the channel, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. I always read them, and they mean more than you know.